Hi, I'm Dave Rutherford with Jay Hill. We're Dave and Jay on the Dave and Jay Show. And we're into the midst of this federal election campaign now, Jay. And there's been a lot of conversation about a lot of issues. But to tell you the truth, to me and Jay, I don't think is going to disagree. The number one issue in this election is corruption. The number one, and for me, really the only issue. We can talk about promises of this and that and economies and subsidies and all this other stuff. For me, the biggest issue is corruption at the very highest level in the Prime Minister's office and the Prime Minister himself. We've seen this in the SNC-Lavalin story, and I know some people are rolling their eyes, Jay, in this country saying, oh, guys, move on, would you? Well, no, you can't move on from the potential criminal activity inside the Prime Minister's office trying to obstruct justice, obstruct an investigation into SNC-Lavalin. And Jay, ironically, the most recent example of this is the Prime Minister's obstruction of the investigation into obstruction. You won't let the Mounties look at anything.
It strikes to the very core of our democracy, because we must have a separation between politics and our justice system. Clearly. We must have equality for all Canadian citizens in how the justice system treats them. Do you really want a Prime Minister that can intercede and interfere and basically block criminal investigations? I don't think so. That sounds like a dictator in a third world country. You know, the Prime Minister, the latest story is that he has not provided a comprehensive waiver of cabinet confidence to allow the RCMP, our nation's police force, to do a full investigation. You all remember when he blocked the ethics commissioner from completing a thorough investigation by not allowing him access to all the cabinet documents.
And even on that evidence, he found him guilty of obstructing justice. Imagine what would happen if they went deeper.
And that's right. And if they had full access to these 9 witnesses that are apparently prepared to provide more evidence and more truthfulness to this.
So Jay, you've been in government. You've been inside. Can a sitting Prime Minister say to the RCMP, no? I mean, can it happen? Has it happened?
Yeah, well, another irony of this story, Dave, is that Mr. Trudeau, Justin Trudeau's father, is the actual Prime Minister that enshrined this in law, and it is the strongest protection of cabinet confidence in the Western world. In other words, the other democracies like Great Britain, the other parliamentary systems like Australia, New Zealand, they don't have this degree of protection where a sitting Prime Minister, under suspicion of committing a criminal act, can just say to the police, no, you're not welcome to come here and look at the documents.
And it's not a blanket, universally applied prohibition either, because Prime Minister Harper lifted the confidentiality of cabinet twice, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
He said, sure, look at what you need to look at. So it can happen. It has happened. This guy doesn't want it to happen because there's stuff in there he does not want anybody to see, including and especially the RCMP.
Well, and in actual fact, I mean, if we want to really think about this, it's quite possible that he could become the first Prime Minister to actually be sentenced to jail. Well, because this is a criminal act that he is being accused of. If he was innocent, why wouldn't he provide that waiver?
You would want to do it right away. You
Exactly.
and I would.
Exactly.
I'd want to pull up as much evidence as I can.
It's not unprecedented, as you said. It's not only Prime Minister Harper that provided waivers for other investigations. It's Prime Minister Mulroney, Prime Minister Chrétien, Prime Minister Martin, with the explosive ad scam scandal.
Yep.
He threw open the books and said, come and look. To Justice Gomery when he was doing his inquiry.
So this guy then is very worried about what's going to be found in whatever kind of documentation they're going to look at. But all we hear in this campaign so far is social issues, social issues, social issues. He's been very efficient, this Prime Minister has, at influencing the media enough not to keep chasing this story, except for Bob Fife, the CTV and Globe and Mail. And
kudos to Bob.
No kidding.
Continuing to,
he's working hard at it, and he's revealing things every day.
So, but my position on that point, Dave, is that every reporter on the plane or on the bus with Justin Trudeau should start every news conference with the question, Prime Minister, when are you going to give a blanket waiver of cabinet confidentiality and allow the RCMP to do their job? When are you going to do that? And they should ask him that every press conference, every day for this entire campaign until he capitulates and allows that waiver and allows the police to do their job.
But you and I know it's not going to happen. It will not happen. The
Well,
media will not do it.
I think if there's enough pressure, it can happen, Dave.
Well, if the Dave and Jay show has anything to do with it,
And
we're on board with that.
We do have influence. Let's face it.
Yeah, all eight people really like this show, and they've told us so.
Well, after you tell them to, wrap this up and tell them to subscribe,
Subscribe to the channel. It'll help get the message out. We'll continue talking about these issues because we think they're very, very important in this campaign. I'm Dave. That's Jay. See you next time.
Thanks.